My bodyguard was once a mercenary, powerful and ruthless, taciturn and unwavering in his duties. He is a remarkably obedient hound. This is precisely why, as an Omega, I can trust such an alpha to remain by my side. I have but one request of him. Guard me closely, never straying even an inch. Yet that night, the good dog overstepped his bounds. The muzzle was violently torn asunder by him. Young master, your request is to endure not allowing an inch of escape, is it not? 1. Hospital Endoscopy Center. I sat at the edge of the examination bed, hesitating to move. Lie back, place your calves on the leg rests and spread your knees, the doctor instructed. Sensing my anxiety, he gently added, relax, it won't be too painful. It wasn't the pain that frightened me. It was the piercing gaze of Zhou Qiao, sharp as a blade, that rendered me incapable of easing my tension. I pursed my lips uneasily and commanded, you should step outside and wait for me. Zhou Qiao's voice was as cold as his expression. Why? Why indeed? Could he not perceive the embarrassment I felt in this moment? Once my pants were off and I lay in that position, it would be quite compromising. If he were a doctor, I wouldn't be so flustered. After all, succumbing to shame would be a waste of time. But he wasn't. He was merely my bodyguard. A bodyguard excessively devoted to his duty. I sighed in exasperation. What danger could possibly arise from a reproductive examination? He stood tall and unyielding. You cannot leave my sight. This diligent bodyguard adhered to his own set of principles, refusing to obey even a command if it contradicted what he deemed as right. After a moment of stalemate, the doctor gently interjected, Young Master Jiang, shall we proceed swiftly? I have another appointment approaching. I glanced at Zhou Qiao again. His chiseled features remained utterly unyielding. Fine. It wasn't as if he hadn't seen me before. Just last time, after a glass of red wine and a bath, I nearly drowned, only to be rescued by Zhou Qiao, who pulled me from the tub in my complete nudity. Moreover, he possessed no carnal desires whatsoever. With his perpetually stoic demeanor, I had never heard of him having any preferences, not even for human company, let alone hobbies. Even during rare moments off, he would merely immerse himself in the gym. When an Omega unexpectedly went into heat at a gathering, other alphas were thrown into disarray. But he remained composed, donning a bite inhibitor and quietly administering suppressants, exhibiting no signs of losing control. He could pass for an automaton. Yes, there was no need for shame in the presence of an automaton. I resigned myself and began to unfasten my trousers. 2. However, I underestimated the agony of having my reproductive cavity forcibly opened. I could not suppress a cry of distress, my entire body taut as a bowstring. The doctor appeared more anxious than I was. Zhou Qiao, who had been standing 2 to 3 meters away, had moved to my bedside the moment I cried out. Silent and expressionless, he fixed his gaze upon the doctor's actions. The oppressive atmosphere was such that it diverted even my attention away from the pain. The doctor explained to Zhou Qiao, a bit of discomfort is normal. Cold sweat trickled down. Young Master Jiang, please, try to relax and don't tense up. It will be over quickly, he pleaded. I gritted my teeth, but the situation seemed to morph into a tug of war. The pain made me anxious. My anxiety caused my muscles to stiffen. The stiffness hindered the probe's progress. The probe's immobility forced the doctor to exert more pressure. With every exertion, the pain intensified. My sweat soaked through my shirt, clinging uncomfortably to my skin. Fortunately, it suddenly went smoothly toward the end. The doctor visibly sighed in relief and swiftly completed the examination. Young Master Jiang, your reproductive cavity is in excellent health. Once the matching is complete, we can arrange for embryo implantation. All right. My calves had rested on the leg supports for too long, causing poor circulation. As soon as my feet hit the ground, my legs went numb. Zhou Qiao caught me almost instantly as I began to crumple. His strong arms enveloped me, my face buried in his chest, my nostrils filled with his scent. Oh, I forgot to mention, take your time getting up. Perhaps sit for a moment, the doctor suggested, abruptly halting as Zhou Qiao cast him a sharp glance. I maintained my position for a while, as if my legs had journeyed to outer space. They gradually regained sensation. Zhou Qiao crouched down, helping me retrieve my pants that had fallen to my ankles. Looking up, his buzz cut seemed almost inviting to touch. Without hesitation, I reached out, my palm grazing against his scalp, an oddly delightful sensation. Zhou Qiao remained expressionless, fastening my belt with meticulous care. 3. My assistant had been waiting outside for quite some time. Upon our exit, he promptly handed me the itinerary. Mr. Jiang, we are 15 minutes behind schedule. Should we postpone or cancel the subsequent meeting? I took the tablet and scrolled through it. As I discussed with my assistant, Zhou Qiao silently followed half a meter behind on my left, neither too close nor too far. I had grown accustomed to subtly turning my head to catch a glimpse of him, a fixed sense of security. Ultimately, the meeting was cancelled. I felt damp and uncomfortable, the sticky coupling agent still clinging to my skin. In the car, I shifted positions incessantly, feeling quite uneasy despite the probe's slenderness. If it weren't for the prospect of inheriting my grandfather's estate, I would never subject myself to such torment. The old man had established a will to ensure the Jiang family lineage. The first of the 3 brothers to produce an heir would inherit the entire estate. Yes, all 3 Jiang brothers are Omegas, and all are career-driven, devoid of romantic inclinations. The eldest is overly conservative, arranging a marriage through intermediaries. The youngest is far too reckless, dragging individuals to hotels to conceive. I cannot fathom why they wouldn't choose artificial insemination like I did, scientific, efficient, and hygienic. There could be no better method. Discomfort surged again, prompting me to shift positions, accompanied by a soft grunt. Zhou Qiao, who had been silent throughout, suddenly spoke up. Are you in pain? Did it cause an injury? Not painful, I replied, turning my head with a smirk. Zhou Qiao, don't you have something to explain to me? As the car entered a tunnel, the dim light accentuated the sharp angles of Zhou Qiao's jawline, exuding a cold, hard quality. He appeared tense. Resting my head on my hand, I watched the tunnel lights flicker like shooting stars, passing by one after another behind him. Zhou Qiao pressed his lips together. It is my duty to protect you. The world outside brightened abruptly. The space behind him transformed into a shimmering sea of golden fragments. The examination's unexpected smoothness was not due to my exceptional adaptation to the probe's presence, but because Zhou Qiao had released pheromones at the moment I grimaced in pain. The doctor, being a beta, could not perceive the overwhelming metallic scent that erupted in the examination room. The sharp, cutting scent permeated the air, compelling me to involuntarily open my reproductive cavity, allowing the cold probe to enter and exit freely. Had the examination lasted even a moment longer, there was a chance I might have been further induced into a state of heat. My body continued to perspire, and the situation remained chaotic. Look at the trouble you've caused. Fortunately, I will never sleep with an alpha. Disgusting. Zhou Qiao lowered his thick lashes slightly. I apologize, young master. It won't happen again. Upon returning home, the bathtub was already filled. I slammed the bathroom door shut. Get rid of that awful smell on you. I don't want to catch a whiff of it when I head out later. There was a brief silence outside, followed by a low response. Understood. Zhou Qiao had navigated the thin line between life and death for many years, his footsteps barely making a sound. I was uncertain if he had left. I held my breath for a moment, gently pulling open the door, only to unexpectedly lock eyes with him. Startled, I exclaimed, "Why are you still here?" "I'll leave once the young master finishes washing," he replied. I felt a surge of irritation. Was he incapable of comprehending human speech? With a stern expression, I pointed towards the door, commanding, "Leave. You are not permitted to enter without my orders." His gaze swept over the bathtub, lingering on my bare feet, trailing up the fabric of my trousers, momentarily pausing. "Have you seen enough? I told you to leave. Did you not hear me?" Zhou Qiao swallowed hard, ultimately nodding in acquiescence. I heard. As I watched him close the door, the strength that had sustained me dissipated in an instant. My waist felt weak, my legs unsteady. I climbed into the bathtub, the desire within me intensifying rather than waning, enveloping me like the warm water that cascaded over my body, surging in waves against my rationality. Frustration bubbled within me. I bit my lip, resignedly letting my hand wander downward. I truly wished to kick Zhou Qiao away. Arrogant, self-satisfied, and stubbornly obstinate. He lacked the awareness that one ought to act in exchange for remuneration. Did he think I could not manage without him? Yet, at present, I could find no one quicker or more capable than him. Even if there were, they could not match Zhou Qiao's ability to remain uninformed about company projects or the Jiang family's affairs, maintaining a steadfast silence, solely concerned for my safety. The water rippled, and my breath quickened. At a crucial moment, my mind inexplicably conjured the image of him squatting in front of me moments ago. The sensation of my hand brushing against his head lingered. It was oddly, tantalizingly, itchy. From the palm of my hand, the itch traveled all the way to the crown of my head. My entire body shuddered, and the sound of water splashing echoed, dispersing into the air. I lost track of time. The abrupt ping of a notification jolted me back to reality. My chest, which had been rising and falling with intensity, returned to normal. The water had cooled slightly, yet the cluster of bubbles on the surface lingered. I stared blankly for a moment before diverting my gaze to the message. Yaoi, do you miss me? I'm back these 2 days. I froze. It was someone utterly unexpected. The message box, which had lain dormant for 4 years, resembled a stagnant pond. This new message was like a stone cast into that stillness, stirring a wave of profound weariness and revulsion. I shut my eyes briefly, turning my phone screen down. I rose and pressed the drain, watching as the bubbles swirled into the drain. Feeling it insufficient, I turned on the shower to rinse the bathtub. After cleansing the tub, I began to wash myself. I scrubbed until my skin wrinkled, yet that feeling of disgust refused to wash away. So vexing. When one is agitated, the entire world seems to conspire against them. I stepped out of the bathtub, my foot barely touching the tiles when my heart sank. Losing my balance was instantaneous. Instinctively, I reached out to steady myself, but in my flurry, I knocked over several jars and bottles from the shelf. What a disaster. Did I harbor a grudge against the bathtub? The door swung open with force, and before the pain in my knee reached my brain, I was swept off my feet. Such speed could only belong to Zhou Qiao. His sculpted profile appeared taut, and after placing me on the bed, he immediately knelt to examine my knee. His rough palm cradled my knee while his other hand grasped my ankle, cautiously rotating it. Does it hurt like this? He had bathed. The once potent scent of his pheromones had vanished. He wore a newly changed light gray shirt, stretched tightly over his muscular chest, now marred by dark water stains. I shook my head, responding ambiguously, "It's wet." Zhou Qiao paused, lifting his gaze to meet mine, an unusual flicker of surprise crossing his typically impassive face. The conversation took an unexpected turn. The sheets are wet. Have Aunt May come to change them? He glanced at the sheets, gently lowering my legs. All right. Though he verbally acknowledged me, he turned back to retrieve my phone and bath towel. He handed me the phone, yet did not rush to leave, unfurling the large towel and draping it over my shoulders, slowly drying me off. The soft cotton absorbed the droplets on my skin, wrapping around me, preserving my dwindling warmth. I remained silent. It was only when he reached my waist that I lifted my finger, gently tapping his shoulder. His movements halted immediately. There was no need for force. With a slight push, I easily created a distance of an arm's length between us. This is not part of your job description. This time, Zhou Qiao did not argue, securing the towel around my waist, rising to his full height, his tone firm. I will call Aunt May. Aunt May, engaged in idle chatter in the garden below, was evidently startled by Zhou Qiao's sudden appearance. She clutched her chest, displaying mild reproach, muttering a few words before heading inside. My phone buzzed twice more. How cold? Why won't you reply? We're discussing a new collaboration next week. You'll be coming, right? Yaoi. I actually miss you and want to see you. I took a deep breath, replying succinctly, I will come. After sending the message, I quickly set my phone to do not disturb. Putting my phone away, my gaze returned to Zhou Qiao. He had finally noticed the water stains on his shirt, glancing down to touch them. Then, curling his fingers, he slowly raised his hand to his nose. He was sniffing. For quite some time. I frowned, lifting my elbow to sniff as well. Today, I had not used a bath ball or shower gel. There was no scent on my body. What was he smelling? The afternoon sun streamed in beautifully, casting a soft glow over Zhou Qiao's chiseled profile. He pressed his thin lips together, a faint smile gracing his face. Too quick, too subtle, felt almost like an illusion. Was Zhou Qiao smiling? Aunt May's voice broke the moment. Young master, it's changed. Do you have any other instructions? I turned, dazed, shaking my head. Yet, in the instant she was about to leave, I unconsciously called out, wait, summon Zhou Qiao. No, you go back to your duties. Downstairs, Zhou Qiao was gazing towards my window. He had excellent hearing. He had likely caught his name. Strangely compelled, I opened my mouth, silently forming the words, come up. Zhou Qiao smiling was nothing short of astonishing to me. Having employed him for nearly a year, I had never witnessed any outward display of emotion from him. Whether facing challenges from the security company at significant events, being attempted to be bribed by opposing firms, or enduring my drunken outbursts during social gatherings, he had consistently exhibited perfect professionalism. Unflinching, unwavering, and unaffected. He resembled a construct programmed to only heed Zhang Yi's words. Though intermittently, his programming seemed to falter, failing to comply. Was that fleeting smile merely another glitch? Young master, his deep voice broke the silence. I turned my head, scrutinizing his stern visage. Could it truly be my imagination? How could a face like his ever break into a smile? It was as if he were waiting at an airport for a ship. His deep, dark eyes steadily met mine, repeating, "Young master." I averted my gaze, nodding towards the wardrobe. "Help me get dressed." Zhou Qiao hesitated momentarily. "This is not part of my job description." The words he had spoken just 10 minutes ago were now thrown back at him, which I found amusing. He still had some spirit left. But no matter how defiant he was still my obedient dog. After baring his teeth, he would still wag his tail for me. "Leave the top button undone." Zhou Qiao's fingers paused briefly before he continued to fasten the buttons. "TSK. I couldn't be bothered to argue, extending my hand to undo 2 of the buttons myself and then ordering, "Shirt stay tucked." As he knelt down, I could distinctly see the outline of the tight bands around his thighs, identical to my own style. Clips secured the edges of the shirt one by one. I could not discern his expression, only feeling his breath, close and warm. I have never allowed my doubts to linger until the next day. "Zhou Qiao, what are you sniffing?" The air stilled for a moment before he candidly uttered, "You smell delightful, young master," a phrase that pricked my ears with its familiarity. In social gatherings, during events, or in business discussions, such words often echo, either as flattery or as provocation, invariably laced with desire. Perhaps Zhou Qiao's usual demeanor, devoid of wants and needs, had ingrained itself too deeply in people's minds, making this unexpected admission from him oddly unrepellent. He was 2 years my senior, without family ties or any inclination towards establishing one. Curiosity overtook me. "What do you earn money for?" Zhou Qiao fastened the last duckbill clasp and stood up, raising his hand to adjust my tie. "To marry a wife." I was rendered speechless for a long moment, astonishment rendering me mute. "What kind of wife do you like?" The bow tie was pushed down to my throat, feeling somewhat constricting. I frowned, loosening it a bit, but before I could await his response, my assistant's call interrupted. Recently, I had acquired a bankrupt small enterprise, and the old employees were in an uproar. To prevent the situation from escalating and negatively impacting the Zhang family's reputation, I needed to intervene. As I exited the elevator, I heard someone shouting vehemently, "If it weren't for the Zhang family sabotaging us, how would the company have gone bankrupt? Damn it, how dare 3 mere Omegas think they can ride over us? We should unite and collectively resign, denying them any advantage." The speaker appeared to be a crucial technical staff member. If he left, it wouldn't be a problem, but if he incited others, things could get messy. I halted, glancing at my assistant. "Cut off the communication signals on these 2 floors. Is the new contract ready?" What could have been a calm discussion now demanded a swift approach. "All employees who echo his sentiments will be laid off according to procedure. The others will retain their original labor contracts with unchanged benefits. The management at the mid-level and above, as well as core personnel, will renegotiate, adding non-compete clauses with doubled penalties for breach. No employee is allowed to communicate privately. Apply pressure to ensure all sign by tonight." My elder brother had assigned me ample personnel. Although he was the one who had orchestrated the sabotage, he typically refrained from appearing in person. My third brother, a naive soul, always left the dirty work for me to handle. What began as a harmonious collaboration soon devolved into chaos as we entered, resembling a bustling marketplace. Observing the previously hesitant individuals now wavering, rushing to the conference room for face-to-face discussions, the loudest protester grew agitated, increasing his volume and pace. Yet few were listening to him now. In the face of long-term interests, a fleeting sentiment mattered little. Besides, that sentiment was hardly pure. He had already accepted a lucrative offer from a rival company, conditioned upon inciting the others to jump ship collectively. My assistant updated me on the progress. Everything unfolded as anticipated, save for an unexpected object hurled in my direction. A pencil holder. Go to hell. It seemed the frustration had reached a boiling point. Amidst the surrounding gasps, Zhou Qiao swiftly wrapped his arms around me, turning to shield me as the holder struck his back with a dull thud. Its contents scattered across the floor, a utility knife landing near my feet. I glanced at it, then turned my head to ask, "Are you all right?" "Yes," Zhou Qiao replied, releasing me. Since encountering an Omega's sudden heat at the banquet, Zhou Qiao had taken to wearing a bite inhibitor when accompanying me to crowded venues. Beneath the metallic mesh, he maintained an unperturbed demeanor. As the ruckus subsided, the process accelerated. I lowered my head to message my elder brother with the outcome, only to realize the signal had been cut off under my own orders, and thus I had to stow my phone away. Let us go. I'll leave the rest to them. The elevator descended slowly from the 37th floor, and within the confined space, I suddenly caught a whiff of faint metallic rust. Glancing at Zhou Qiao, I noticed his brow furrowed, intently focused on the numbers. Did he not realize the implications of releasing pheromones indiscriminately? Just as I contemplated reminding him, the overhead lights flickered. Suddenly, he grasped my shoulder tightly, his voice urgent. Press against the wall. Before I could process, the lights went out. The elevator plummeted several floors before coming to a jarring halt. Power outage? The darkness enveloped us, illuminated only by the dim red glow of the alarm button. Yes, this doesn't seem accidental. If it's not an accident, then it is deliberate. In recent years, I had encountered numerous acts of revenge, yet this scenario was unprecedented. My heart raced as I forced myself to regain composure, retrieving my phone. Fortunately, having left those 2 floors, the signal had returned to normal. A succinct message summing up the situation was sent, and my brother quickly replied, "Don't worry, I'll be there soon." I wasn't particularly frightened. Being trapped alone might provoke panic, but with Zhou Qiao beside me, I felt a sense of reassurance. Yet, an unsettling feeling gripped me. Zhou Qiao seemed off, his breathing heavy, temperature elevated, muscles taut. "Zhou Qiao?" The only response was a muffled groan. Anxiety surged within me. Typically articulate and quick-witted at the negotiation table, he now struggled to form coherent words. "Why you need to relax? I'm here." Before hiring Zhou Qiao, I had conducted an extensive background check, even employing special means to obtain his therapy records with a psychologist. It felt somewhat unethical, but when it comes to my safety, morality takes a back seat. After all, at his age, he was in the prime of both mental acuity and physical prowess. Abandoning a high-paying commission to become a bodyguard was suspicious, difficult not to ponder. His therapy sessions had been brief, and he hadn't sought help again after me. I believed he had healed or at least moved on, yet his current state indicated otherwise. The dark, confined environment had triggered his post-traumatic stress once more. 3 years ago, during a mission, he and his teammates were trapped beneath a concrete slab after an explosion. The space was so constricted that they could not stretch their limbs. They were rescued 4 days later. Specifically, Zhou Qiao was the one who emerged alive. His teammates had suffered severe injuries, and one had succumbed to his wounds on the night of the explosion. Trapped in that confined space, Zhou Qiao had quietly witnessed the gradual loss of his companion's body heat, the slow onset of swelling, and the eventual stench of decay, all while feeling utterly powerless. I was not a psychologist and did not know how to guide him through this. I was merely his employer, and technically I did not need to counsel him. However, he had risked his life for me so many times, and with his life now seemingly on track, smiling, even expressing a desire to marry, I felt a pang of compassion. After wrestling with my conscience, I grit my teeth and tore off the suppression patch I had long worn on the back of my neck. Cautiously, I inched closer, draping my arm around his shoulder, gently patting his back. It's all right, we'll be out soon. Omega pheromones should calm a restless alpha. It ought to work like that. Why then did he seem even tenser? Was it not sufficient? Uncertainty gnawed at me as I tentatively wrapped my arms around his neck. But before I could soothe him, I felt warmth pooling in my palm. A warm, viscous substance. I froze, recalling the utility knife, suddenly realizing, "You're hurt?" The earlier metallic scent was not pheromones. It was blood. Zhou Qiao did not reply, silently encircling my waist. "Young master." Thankfully, he still retained some composure. I could hardly mind that his embrace was too tight, pressing against me far closer than what our safety distance should allow. "Do you feel any better? Just hold on a bit longer. My brother will be here soon." His head rested against my shoulder, slowly nuzzling it. The biting device felt frigid against my skin, while the breath emanating from the metallic grid was scorching. The juxtaposition of cold and heat meandered along my neck, igniting a series of involuntary shivers. My breath lingered on my gland, each exhale growing increasingly fervent. An unsettling thought crept into my mind. Surely, he did not intend to bite me. My nerves tightened in an instant, yet I found myself relaxing in a moment of self-reassurance. Surely not, he was wearing the biting device, and besides, Zhou Qiao had never exhibited behavior beyond the bounds of propriety. Young master, I think, What are you thinking? Young master. Zhou Qiao called my name softly, his voice husky, saturated with a palpable desire. I froze, a sudden wave of intense acidity swelling within me, causing my body to tremble uncontrollably. Something had penetrated me, something hard, the metallic strip of the biting device. Damn! He had completely lost his rationality. I struggled, tugging at his hair in an attempt to free myself, but his hair was too short to grasp effectively. My frantic pushes only elicited tighter restraints and bolder caresses. Though there was no substantial contact, the areas brushed by the biting device felt as if they were aflame. Zhou Qiao, let me go. Zhou Qiao remained unresponsive. The shirt clasp he had fastened with his own hands was torn asunder, the elastic band snapping against my thigh, sending a jolt through me. The elevator hung precariously in midair, threatening to plummet at any moment. I dared not struggle too vigorously, forced to watch helplessly as he lifted the hem of my shirt, pushing it to my collarbone. When his heat reached my chest, I could not suppress a whimper. It hurts. Zhou Qiao's body suddenly stiffened. Seizing the opportunity, I pressed on. It hurts so much. Wake up. I am your boss. You cannot harm me. The grip that had confined me gradually loosened, his hands dropping, breath still rapid, yet he ceased all movement, until my brother arrived with others to pry open the elevator doors. Zhou Qiao and I exchanged no further words. My brother's gaze swept over Zhou Qiao before settling on my crumpled shirt. Are you all right? His concern was genuine, yet my face flushed unexpectedly. I'm fine. He needs to attend to his wounds. For the first time, Zhou Qiao did not accompany me home. As I sat in my brother's car, my body still radiated heat. Zhang Yi, startled back to reality, I found my brother's expression calm as he patiently repeated, "The surveillance footage? Should I dispose of it for you?" "What surveillance?" He remained silent, handing over a tablet. In the low-resolution, blurry footage, two figures were entwined closely, their intimacy unmistakable. My face flushed even more. It was evident that the footage portrayed something far more scandalous than reality. Dispose of it, I urged. If it got out, it would be disastrous. All right. My brother replied nonchalantly, sending a few messages. What about him? Should I take care of that too? I glanced at the dark red stain in my palm, stunned for a few seconds before realizing he was referring to Zhou Qiao. Clenching my fist, I almost instinctively replied, "No need." My brother tucked away his phone, casting a sidelong glance at me. "As you wish. Just don't come crying to me if you get bitten." "That's absurd. When have I ever cried? Have you not cried enough?" He chuckled lightly, like that time you were rejected in front of everyone. "All right, stop the car." He clearly would not allow me to leave in this state, yet he wisely ceased his teasing. We remained silent until we reached the villa, just as I was about to exit the vehicle when he called out leisurely from behind. "Zhang Yi, don't be stubborn. If you like him," I decisively slammed the door shut. "Mind your own business." Zhou Qiao only returned the following day. The private investigator quickly updated me on his condition. He had received treatment for his wounds in the emergency department, collected 2 boxes of suppressants using half on the spot, and had undergone 3 hours of psychological counseling. 3 hours? Had he given up on marriage? Such extravagant spending was unusual for him, as he typically ended consultations at 59 minutes, adamantly refusing to allow the doctors to profit further. "Should I send you the conversation records and recordings?" "Yes, please do." A compressed file was promptly sent over. I saved it as usual, not rushing to open it. I could roughly guess the contents. Zhou Qiao had likely revisited the scene of being trapped beneath the cement slab, confusion, despair. I had listened to it many times, each instance leaving me feeling suffocated for quite a while. With a mountain of documents to address, I had no time to be distracted. After a marathon of 3 meetings, I pushed open the office door, greeted by the delicious aroma of food. Zhou Qiao stood, his cheeks slightly puffed. Habitually, I approached him, "Bring me a lion's head." Seeing Zhou Qiao momentarily stunned, he quickly caught on and halted his steps. My mind was racing from the hectic day. Surely, our first words after the elevator incident should not be about food. Had he reflected on his actions? Or was it a warning that if it happened again, he would be dismissed? Yes, that seemed more appropriate. I opened my mouth to speak again, but instead said, "Forget it." I pursed my lips. "Finish your meal and take care of yourself. There's a family banquet at the old mansion tonight. You needn't accompany us." Zhou Qiao swallowed hard. "Young master." A flicker of unease crossed my mind. sensing he was about to say something I would rather not hear. Before I could intervene, he had already spoken. I was sober yesterday. What are you trying to convey? I'm sorry. Why are you apologizing? For overstepping, or for being unable to control yourself? He remained silent. Enough, let us put an end to this. I waved my hand dismissively and walked towards my desk. You should find a partner soon. If you have a preference, I can help you make introductions. The stack of documents awaiting my attention was substantial. As I flipped through them, I suddenly heard him say from behind, someone like Zhang Yi. My mind momentarily blanked, and I questioned whether I had misheard. What? Zhou Qiao's expression was devoid of emotion, his tone calm. I want someone like Zhang Yi. Me? He didn't even address me as young master. Though it was still me, the distinction between name and title was significant. Before he could respond, I let out a cold laugh. How bold of you to think that. Until evening, I found myself pondering his words. Someone like me? What was I really like? The housekeeper, noticing my days in the garden, brought me a blanket. As the second son in the family, I had always been overlooked by my parents, overshadowed by my accomplished elder brother and my frail, innocent younger brother, who captured nearly all their attention. Only the old housekeeper showed me any care. The second young master has always been well behaved. He is a strong and good child, she replied with a warm smile. But I was not well behaved now. I was engaged in inhumane activities, and I felt far from strong. What a little crybaby. Clear, mellifluous voice broke through my thoughts, causing my body to tense involuntarily. That voice, stiffly turning my head, I indeed saw Chi Bai. He waved at me from across the fence. After years apart, he still appeared handsome, yet I felt no flutter of attraction. What are you doing here? He caught the motion of my frown and stepped back, feigning hurt, though his eyes held no emotion. Chi Bai was always like this, acting as though he cared deeply, his gentleness almost drowning you. Yet, when you truly began to drown, you realized he cared for no one. His tenderness was a facade. The drowning was all too real. Little crybaby, stop crying. Are they not playing with you? It's all right. Brother Chi will play with you, just with you. Is that okay? You've turned into an Omega. How wonderful. You can have children for your brother now, Don't you want to? Brother is feeling sad. Xiaoyi, do you harbor feelings for me? You may as well admit it. Am I mocking you? On the contrary, it brings me great joy. Once you graduate from university, we will be together. Tonight, I find myself yearning for you, longing to see you. Would you come to me? Yet, when I steeled myself and hurried to seek him out, I stumbled upon an unexpected scene, him entwined with another. The Omega beneath him rolled its eyes slightly, pupils unfocused, drool spilling from the corners of its perpetually open mouth, its body twitching intermittently. It was so grotesque, so filthy, so revolting. I had never imagined that mating could be such a repulsive act. And Chi Bai, unfazed, leisurely rose to his feet, his demeanor languid. You've seen it. My apologies, he suddenly went into heat, and it troubles me greatly. But rest assured, we only engaged twice, and there was no marking. Xiao Yi, have you been marked by someone? Chi Bai's voice broke through my thoughts, and I returned to reality, frowning as I raised a hand to my nose. Please, contain your pheromones. Have you spent years in further studies without learning what courtesy is? He paused, seemingly taken aback, this reaction appearing genuine. You've caught me. He smiled. Your reaction is quite pronounced. Do you have someone you fancy? I wish to avoid further entanglement. Let's discuss matters concerning our collaboration when the time comes. As for everything else, there's nothing more for us to converse about. He attempted to detain me. I heard about you, but I quickened my pace. Yet that cold, wooden scent clung to me like a shadow, causing discomfort throughout my being. What I once coveted most had now transformed into the very thing I wished to escape. Having not fully enjoyed the family banquet, I returned home. Upon entering, I nearly collided with Zhou Qiao. Apologies, my fault. I had rushed out today, as he usually opened the door just as I arrived. As I removed my coat and bent to change my shoes, Zhou Qiao stood nearby, frozen in place. Why was there an alpha at the family banquet? Startled by the unmasked possessiveness glimmering in his gaze, it took me a moment to gather my response. Just an ordinary neighbor. Clearly, it lacked persuasiveness. I added, a current business partner. We happened to meet and exchanged a few words. Still, it seemed unconvincing. A mere conversation shouldn't leave me reeking of Chi Bai's scent. But to explain fully would be far too lengthy. Wait, why should I even explain myself to Zhou Qiao? I nearly laughed at my own absurdity. I had indulged him far too much, allowing him to forget his place. I pushed him away with irritation. Step aside. His muscles were firm and unyielding, a wall of resistance. I glared up at him, Zhou Qiao. Eventually, he relented, allowing me passage. I chose not to engage him further, completing my shower and retreating to my study to attend to outstanding matters. As I worked until my head spun, I suddenly recalled that I hadn't yet reviewed the diagnostic records sent by the detective. Shoving aside my work, I retrieved the documents and began decompressing them, the progress bar swiftly reaching its end. 3 hours of audio loomed, my mouse hovering over the play button. Yet I hesitated. At this juncture, should I continue to pry into his privacy? I had confirmed countless times that he remained loyal to me and would not betray my trust. My encounters with Zhou Qiao lacked any dramatic flair, let alone a sense of fated connection. At the time, I had been harassed by anonymous letters, necessitating protection while attending a banquet. A friend introduced me to him. A bodyguard of his caliber, excelling in every aspect, was a coveted resource within our circle, much like a top-notch housekeeper. Before me, he had been employed multiple times, serving as a tool to please others, passed along half-heartedly to the next individual. Yet I chose to keep him. I arranged for him to stay in the room closest to me, even involving him in inconsequential activities. When friends inquired about my decision, I casually remarked because he is quite useful, and I'll just replace him when I find someone better. In truth, there was no one better. I could not function without him. Leaning back in my office chair, I pinched the bridge of my nose. The computer screen dimmed, and my phone suddenly illuminated. A notification from the hospital informed me that a highly compatible candidate had been found. Contacting my assistant to arrange an appointment, I exited the study, unconsciously rubbing my abdomen. Stomach ache? I looked up to see Zhou Qiao standing against the wall. No. I paused. I was contemplating the position of the reproductive cavity. Zhou Qiao blinked, taking a couple of steps closer, and lightly pointed at a spot on my lower abdomen. Here. It was somewhat amusing. You, an alpha, seemed to know it better than I do. Although I had studied it in biology class and had just undergone an examination, it still felt entirely abstract. In 3 days, there will be a new life here. It's quite remarkable. 3 days? Yes, I should be the fastest, right? I forced a dry chuckle, only to feel a wave of disinterest wash over me. This was a hollow victory, obtained through dubious means. Zhou Qiao's gaze remained fixed on my abdomen, his expression darkening. I have money. His abrupt declaration caught me off guard, prompting a laugh. Huh? Perhaps sensing my skepticism, he displayed his international account balance, revealing an eye-catching sum. So what? All of it is yours. Don't go. His tone was calm yet resolute, his demeanor serious and unwavering. He was sincere, and that stripped the humor from the moment. I composed my expression. Do you have any idea how substantial the inheritance from my father is? He slowly withdrew his hand. I don't know. Of course. Zhou Qiao was oblivious. Besides, your money is tainted with blood. I refused to accept it. The moment those words left my lips, the air thickened with tension. No, that wasn't what I intended to convey. I meant to express that his wealth was acquired through perilous means, and I could not accept it. I attempted to articulate my thoughts several times, but words failed me. Perhaps it was better not to explain. A misunderstanding would be more beneficial. If he misunderstood, he wouldn't utter such childish remarks again. By the way, I'm not yet in heat, so the reproductive cavity may still be difficult to open. Pausing for a moment, I adopted a lighter tone to voice a somewhat awkward request. When the time comes, just like last time, I will pay you extra. With that, I lifted my foot, ready to return to my room. Zhou Qiao remained silent. As we brushed past each other, his grip tightened around my wrist. I frowned and met his unfathomable dark gaze, feeling an unexplainable tremor in my chest. The word let go lodged in my throat, unable to escape. Then why, he asked, his eyes locked onto mine. Like a deep sea, calm on the surface yet concealing struggles beneath. It felt as if something was about to break free. Can't you let me do it directly? My mind went blank. I was left stunned for a long moment before suddenly realizing what he meant. Are you insane? I told you, I won sleep with an alpha. His grip was firm but not overpowering, and I managed to break free, hastily stepping away. Before entering my bedroom, I lowered my voice without turning back. Zhou Qiao, if you wish to continue working here, I hope you can promptly adjust your attitude. You should know what is acceptable and what is not. The door closed behind me. My back pressed against the door. My body slid down until I sat on the floor. What was this? so foreign. The struggle I sensed in his gaze, that fierce sense of invasion. I instinctively touched my wrist, then my gland, finally covering my wildly beating heart. He had done nothing to me, yet I felt as though I were being torn apart and devoured alive. My assistant, in a bid to ensure my rest, had removed many lower priority engagements, including discussions with Chi-Bai. To my surprise, he directly found his way to my office. Yaoi, did we not agree you would attend? Do you so wish to avoid seeing me? The assistant wore an expression of guilt and discomfort. I couldn't stop him. The one capable of restraining him was absent, and feeling uneasy alone with Zhou Qiao, I sent him away to fetch coffee. Yaoi has truly grown up. He observed his surroundings while stepping inside, finally halting in front of the desk, smiling at me. You've transformed into the reliable Zhang Zong. Indeed, I had matured. The smile that once captivated me now appeared rather trivial, frivolous and hypocritical. Is there a problem? Yes, a significant one. For issues, consult the project lead, I retorted. Let us have a child together. The remainder of his sentence abruptly ceased. I furrowed my brows. What are you talking about? I have heard about your grandfather's will, and I know you are attempting artificial means. Rather than bringing an unknown child into this world, Chi-Bai leaned over the desk, resting both hands on its surface. Why not have mine? To be frank, my family is pressing me as well. We could collaborate. I would allocate 1/3 of my shares to you. What do you say? That does not sound appealing. Don't be so stubborn. Wasn't I your favorite when we were children? You wished to marry me on your birthdays. And that time during New Year's when you drank too much and fell asleep in your room, you secretly kissed me. Didn't you? I know everything. In the end, you came looking for me with 3 condoms in your pocket. His words trailed off. The tie constricted his throat, and his pale, delicate face instantly flushed crimson. I was momentarily taken aback and stood up. Zhou Qiao, let go. Zhou Qiao gripped the back of his collar with one hand while holding coffee in the other. He cast a cold glance at Chi-Bai, yet did not release him. It was quite a predicament. Though I found some satisfaction in seeing Chi-Bai in such a flustered state, I still felt it necessary to grant him a semblance of dignity in the workplace. Let go. This time, Zhou Qiao directed his gaze toward me. The emotions swirling in his dark eyes were inscrutable, and I sensed a tightening at the back of my head. Chi-Bai was pulled aside, stumbling back a few steps before regaining his balance. Shaoyi, what sort of people do you associate with so brutish? Zhou Qiao shot him a cold glance, and he promptly fell silent. Ahem. Reconsider my proposal. I can increase the shares to half. Chi-Bai left in a hurry, neglecting to close the door behind him. I tilted my chin at Zhou Qiao. Give me the coffee, you may leave too. Zhou Qiao remained unmoved. Is it him? I was unaware of how much he had overheard. It was evident that the earlier description of him as an ordinary neighbor now sounded utterly feeble. Do not agree to him. I had no intention of doing so. I had no intention to agree, yet responding this way felt oddly obedient to his wishes, which was inexplicably displeasing. I swallowed the latter half of my sentence and reached out for the coffee. This is none of your business. My knuckles turned slightly white as I gripped the coffee cup, and just as I was about to seize it, it suddenly descended, placed firmly on the table with a sharp sound. I was left grasping at air, and before I could express my anger, my suspended hand was firmly captured. I found myself uncontrollably lurching forward, crashing into his sturdy embrace. What are you? Do not sleep with him. His heated breath pressed down upon me, and I froze momentarily, hastily lifting my hand to shield myself. The softness and warmth against my palm were unexpected. What are you doing? Do you wish to kiss me? I questioned fiercely, though my thoughts scattered uncontrollably, my body tense, wondering why his lips felt so soft. I had expected them to be hard and cold like a bite block. I regained my composure, adopting a stern expression as I pushed him back. Zhou Qiao, calm down. Did the incident in the elevator lead you to misunderstand? That was not an embrace. It was merely a humanitarian act of comfort. Even if it had been a stranger trapped, I would have helped. Do you understand? I am not your Omega. Do not harbor possessive feelings towards me. The breath I had gathered momentarily stilled. You are not mine. Correct. I am not yours. I tentatively withdrew my hand, and he did not attempt to kiss me again. I exhaled half a sigh of relief when I heard him say, but I wish to become your alpha. His declaration was resolute and candid. I inhaled deeply, my expression icy as I rejected him. That is unnecessary. I have no such desire. You have desires. I can hear the sounds from the bathroom. Damn it! I hastily covered his mouth. Do you not wish to keep your job? Zhou Qiao lowered his gaze, his voice muffled yet deliberate. I do wish to. If you utter such nonsense again, you shall leave, I shouted through clenched teeth, still feeling insufficiently appeased. This is your final warning. There will be no next time. The final time. The final time. The final time. In truth, I lacked the confidence to end things. With pent-up frustration, I returned home, my mind ablaze with the thought of him silently listening just a wall away for so long. I immediately summoned Aunt May, intending to move his room to the farthest corner from mine. No, I cannot protect you effectively that way. What danger could there possibly be at home? Zhou Qiao paused, then replied in a low voice, if there is no danger, then why am I living here? It was my turn to fall silent. For the first time, I found myself at a loss for words in the face of his retort. After a while I chuckled and nodded, you are right. Once the matter at the hospital is concluded tomorrow, you shall move out, and you need not return home with me anymore. Zhou Qiao remained silent, and we stood in a standoff. Aunt May appeared troubled. Shall we still move tonight? I did not respond, turning to retreat into my room. That night, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. When had Zhou Qiao changed? He had not been like this a year ago. When we first met, he was cold and distant, his demeanor haughty, perhaps believing he would soon transition to another employer, scarcely remembering my name. After he helped me deal with an anonymous harasser, I felt a wave of relief but wished to check if he had been harmed. Zhou Qiao frowned, retreating 3 meters away, his tone frigid as ice. Do not touch me. His salary was already quite high, and when I assigned him tasks beyond his scope, he would resolutely demand additional compensation. When did everything transform? He began to call me by my full name, from resisting touch to taking the initiative. When I offered him a bonus, he declined. Only I remained unchanged. Yes, I had not changed. I hardly slept that night. After dawdling through my morning routine, I stepped outside to find Zhou Qiao impeccably dressed, leaning against the door, awaiting my departure. I averted my gaze, pointing to the bite block on the cabinet. Put it on. He obediently complied. His excessive compliance made me suspicious, and I tugged at it, finding it quite tight. Only then did I feel reassured. We exchanged no words on the way to the hospital. After donning the sterile gown, I felt exposed beneath it. I fidgeted multiple times, ultimately resigning myself. I just had to endure today. After signing a plethora of preoperative documents, I was led into a small room to watch a procedural video. The beautifully crafted 2D animation vividly illustrated the upcoming procedure. In mere minutes, the video ended without pausing, automatically transitioning to the next educational guide on the lifelong marking process. That was unnecessary to view. I turned my head. It's nearly time. Give it to me. Zhou Qiao's jawline tensed as he fixated on the screen. Insert into the reproductive cavity, gripping the gland. The female voice in the background continued to elaborate. I nudged Zhou Qiao. Zhou Qiao? He finally turned to me, his eyes brimming with tumultuous emotions. I was taken aback. What? He seemed utterly absorbed, not having heard me. I bit my lip, repeating, give me the pheromones. Then inject the pheromones, the screen displayed. What was that? I turned in astonishment as the screen showcased the final step of the lifelong marking process. This should be the final video, and once the visuals fade, there is only a silent black screen. The interminable silence lingers for what feels like a dozen seconds, and just as I begin to despair, Zhou Qiao's voice slowly emerges. All right, here you go. My heart leaps instantly. It's about to happen. I clutch the sterile cloth tightly, waiting for the opportune moment to step into the operating room. However, this time, Zhou Qiao's pheromones do not burst forth as they did before. Instead, they envelop him like mist, gradually seeping into my skin like a frog being gently boiled in warm water. Can you hurry? The remainder of my words falter, as I realize I can no longer stand. My body has become so weak that I lack the strength to resist, and I find myself sliding down. In a panic, I attempt to grasp the back of the chair. Zhou Qiao, enough, stop. My waist is suddenly supported by a strong hand, and my body feels weightless. Is he going to carry me inside? How utterly embarrassing. Mortified at the thought of attracting others' attention, I lower my head and bury my face in the crook of Zhou Qiao's neck. The metallic scent fills my senses, and soon, even my consciousness feels soft and pliable. In a daze, I hear a soft chuckle. You use me to open your reproductive cavity and then accept others. Zhou Qiao's voice seems distant. I cannot accept that. My sluggish brain finally processes his words, and I lift my head, shocked to see him walking in the opposite direction. Alarmed, I straighten up. Is he attempting to rebel? Zhou Qiao. Here. He dares to respond. Fury ignites within me, yet I find myself unable to push back or struggle free. Even my furious growl devolves into a whimper. Where are you taking me? Zhou Qiao holds me with one arm and opens the car door. Home. Upon entering, I see no one, and panic wells within me. Climbing the stairs, I finally hear Aunt May's voice, but just as I prepare to call out, Zhou Qiao pushes open the study door. You bastard, I start. Stop shouting. You'll have the chance to call something more melodious later. Zhou Qiao pins me against the door, raising his hand to tear the biting device's strap. The strap I had secured earlier with such determination is now effortlessly torn apart by him. Clang. The metal piece falls to the ground, the sharp sound echoing far and wide. The leather edging leaves an imprint on his high nose, which he presses nonchalantly, then tilts my chin up. This time, cannot resist. That metallic scent instantly fills my nostrils. As I am kissed to the brink of asphyxiation, I muster the strength to raise my hand and slap him. Zhou Qiao remains unyielding. I strike him again, but it proves futile. He gazes down at me with a bemused expression. Have you caught your breath? Before I can respond, he kisses me fiercely once more. Realizing that the more I resist, the more fervent he becomes, I cease my attempts to fight back. I am utterly drained. He lifts me, sweeping aside the clutter on the desk. Seizing the moment, I attempt to escape, but in my fluster, I inadvertently press something, and a deep, raspy voice fills the study. I seem to have developed feelings for my employer. For a moment, we both freeze. The words did not come from the uncontrolled Zhou Qiao before me, but from the 3-hour recording I had not heard. He drags me back by my ankle. You investigated me? My mind is so muddled that I don't know what to say. You like me? No, now I should be resisting. If this continues, he will undoubtedly mark me against my will. But you like me? Are you sure it's love and not merely a desire to help you escape your psychological trauma? Or the alpha's inherent possessiveness over an omega? The psychologist's voice is calm and gentle. In the recording, Zhou Qiao falls silent. The only sound in the study is the crackle of electricity, like white noise, as my chaotic thoughts gradually settle. I discover that I am, against my will, waiting for his answer. Zhou Qiao removes his shirt, descending upon me like a mountain. What do you want to hear? I will tell you face to face. I don't know. He presses against my slightly swollen lips, bestowing a kiss that can be deemed tender. The two voices overlap. I am certain it is love. I want to protect him, not for the sake of a commission. I want to mark him, not out of alpha instinct. He allows me to sleep soundly, yet often keeps me awake, though not in the same way as before. Every time he speaks, I yearn to kiss him, to hold him tightly, to bite him, to consume him. He always puts on a brave front, stubbornly doing things he dislikes. For 3 hours, Zhou Qiao and the psychologist recount everything that has transpired over the past year. I never imagined he had so much to say, nor did I ever know that I held such a place in his heart. In the end, the psychologist asks, what if your love is never reciprocated? Zhou Qiao chuckles softly. Perhaps I would leave, depart from this circle. Would you return to accept bounty tasks? I cannot interfere with your decision, but I must remind you that this could exacerbate your stress. But remaining by his side, I will eventually lose control and harm him. He has already lost control. Zhou Qiao breathes heavily as he cradles my limp form. The sterile surgical gown has long since been torn apart, leaving a heap of rags. I lack even the strength to move a finger, hanging limply upon him. Zhang-Yi, I am sorry. I want to laugh. Even as I utter apologies, my actions betray me. The glands, marked by uneven bites, are once more punctured by him. How many times? I have lost count. My body is overwhelmed by his pheromones, leaving me nearly unresponsive, only able to emit a feeble, trembling moan. This time, the biting lingers particularly long, and after withdrawing, he tenderly licks the wound. I will leave tomorrow. His breath wafts over the gland, and I remain in a daze for a moment before instinctively struggling. It will be over soon. Zhou Qiao seizes my hand, his voice softening. Just today, do not reject me any longer. No. This is not what I want. I exert all my strength to voice my protest, though it emerges as a hoarse whisper. Don't leave me. Time loses all meaning. I cannot recall how long I have been entangled with Zhou Qiao. From the study to the bedroom to the bathtub. The only thing I remember is my reluctance to turn on the lights, and his constant coaxing. Zhang-Yi is beautiful. Even when he cries, he is lovely and sweet, Not dirty at all. Ultimately, we are interrupted by an urgent call from my elder brother, insisting we visit grandfather at the hospital. That old man. His will is a sham. The genuinely notarized version is to be split evenly among the 3 brothers. No one receives more, no one less. In the parking lot, I seethe with impotent rage, while my elder brother casts me a fleeting glance. Cried from being bitten, perhaps influenced by Zhou Qiao, my skin has grown remarkably thick. Yes, I cried my heart out. What about you, elder brother? He pauses, extinguishing his cigarette with a smirk. Take care of yourself. Once the driver arrives, Zhou Qiao lifts me into the car. He appears somewhat anxious. Zhang Yi, the will is fake. Will you regret it? I remain silent. It is not until the car merges onto the main road that I finally speak. Do you remember the request I made when we first met? To guard me, never leaving my side. Though in these chaotic days, Zhou Qiao has twisted it into something of a more risque implication. The request remains unchanged, but I must add one more thing. Watch over us. Before he can process, I hastily add, no, wait. One more request. Let your hair grow longer. Otherwise, I have nowhere to grasp. The end. Thank you for listening. Until we meet in the next story.